The history of the human being is a cycle in every sense of the word, and today I'm going to prove it to you. States are forged that become empires that conquer and subjugate other peoples through hard power, only to then establish a brief period of peace. The balance of power breaks, and a series of new wars erupt through which international geopolitics is reconfigured. The XXI secolo begins with the Pax Americana, and we are witnessing how this period of stability is about to crack. Are you interested in analyzing the cycle of our existence? Alright, then stay until the end of the video. Before we talk about current events, let's quickly review how the main periods of peace were achieved and how they were broken to return to chaos and international anarchy. Starting with the Pax Romana, whose beginning is associated with the Fourth Civil War of the Roman Republic, the prelude to the imperial era with Augustus as the first emperor. After this, there were almost no organized states left in Europe, and it would only be a matter of time before Rome became the only state on the continent, establishing undisputed hegemony over the entire known world. This period of peace and stability, characterized by its internal calm and external security, saw its end with the crisis of the 3rd century. The balance of internal power breaks. A series of civil wars arise that weaken the empire, making it vulnerable to barbarian invasions. The definitive end of the Western Empire occurs in 476 AD. In the Far East, there were also different periods of stability and lasting peace known as the Pax Sinica, where various dynasties reigned in asymmetric periods. The first was the Han Dynasty, which breaks after the period of the Three Kingdoms, the Tang Dynasty, which culminates with the period of the Five Dynasties and the 10 Kingdoms, or the Qing Dynasty, which extends for almost 3 centuries and is overthrown in 1911 to give way to a failed Republican China where so much blood was shed throughout almost the entire 20th century. During the Middle Ages, the Pax Mongolica stands out, which refers to the period of social and economic stability experienced by the various peoples of Eurasia, who were subjugated by the Mongol Empire of Genghis Khan, which extended from Korea to Hungary, also thanks to the conquests of his grandson Kublai Khan. This allowed the Silk Road, which linked the trades of Asia and Europe, to flourish and develop between the XIII and XIV secoli. However, after the death of Kublai, the empire fragmented into 4 different states, and in turn divided into various new entities that shaped the countries we know today. Added to this was the Black Plague in Europe, which ended the lives of 1/3 of the population, ruining the flow of goods from the Silk Road, and beginning a new period of international energy in the Eurasian bloc, Asian. Already during the modern age, the Pax Hispanica stands out, which is associated with the rise of the Spanish Empire after the conquest of various territories in America. This era is associated with the reign of Philip III between 1598 and 1621, in which various peace agreements were signed, such as the Treaty of London with England, the Peace of Bourbon with France, and the 12 Years' Truce with the Netherlands. The valet of his son and successor, Philip IV, the Count Duke of Olivares, showed a much more aggressive policy, which led to a new series of confrontations with the other European powers that extended over the following centuries. As you may know, the Spanish Empire definitively falls during the XIX secolo first, with the Latin American Wars of Independence, and then with the war against the United States. We move forward to the contemporary age, which begins with a lot of violence. The French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. The great victorious power that consolidates itself as the new hegemonic state, this time over the entire planet, is the United Kingdom. Thus begins in 1815 the Pax Britannica, which is associated with the Victorian era. While there were various conflicts and revolutions in Europe during the XIX secolo, great advances were achieved, such as the Industrial Revolution and great economic prosperity throughout the world. However, the balance of power would be threatened again with the rise of new powers in Europe that began a rapid arms race leading to the event that you already know well in 1914, the First World War, with which the Pax Britannica ends. Already in a globalized world, and with so many technological advances in the war industry, we have that the XX secolo was a real slaughterhouse that took tens of millions of human lives during the world wars. After them, the United States consolidates itself as the world's first superpower, and the Pax Americana begins thanks to the Marshall Plan and the creation of the European Union, in the first instance, only in the Western Bloc during the Cold War. After the end of it and the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Pax Americana extends throughout the world. And that's how we've held on for about 2 decades, but things have started to change during the 2010s. First, we see the rise of new powers like China, as well as the resurgence of Russia, which again threaten to break the balance of power on a global scale. The cracks of this break begin to show with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which is a clear demonstration of a challenge to the hegemony of the United States, its European allies, and North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's clear that Russia and China are not satisfied with the unipolar world we live in, and they are making their greatest efforts to end this. And it turns out that, as you should already know, since it's my videos and you're subscribed to the channel, Eastern Europe is not the only powder keg of our times. The war between Israel and Hamas suggests that a regional war could break out at any moment where the local actors are also aligned with one side or the other. The Far East and the Chinese Communist Party's slogan of reunification with Taiwan, as well as the conflict between the Koreas, is also a breeding ground for a new outbreak of violence that could link up with the other fronts already mentioned. So, as you can see, we are repeating a historical cycle that has been happening since ancient times. Our generation is witnessing how the balance of power within the Pax Americana is beginning to break down, something that could bring devastating consequences not only for the potential belligerent countries possessing nuclear weapons, but for the whole world. Do you think we are experiencing the end of the Pax Americana? Don't forget to leave your comment and subscribe to the channel. Also, I leave you in the description my social networks, and in case you want to see the new videos in pre-release and have a greater interaction with me, your donations on Patreon, unamanito.net, or channel members are welcome. See you next time.